Hello, welcome back to another Saturday stream here on Tech Ambrosia. Hope everybody's had a good week. Hope the weekend is treating you well. I finally, last night, slept well for the first time in, I think, 2 weeks, maybe? But yeah, I'm doing alright. So what has been happening? Last weekend, basically right after stream, I do my weekly VR thing on Saturdays. Then all of Sunday, I was migrating my home lab over to its new hardware. That's all finally been finished today. Finally. The only things I have left to do are a couple of additional storage drives to install into it, which is pretty great. It means I can use the old home lab as like a test platform to look at like how do Sandy Bridge and Ivy Bridge Xeons run today in 2024, which I think might be interesting, maybe. What else? That's about it. Obviously, the 3D effects video continues to go bonkers, which is kind of amazing. It's a little bit blowing my mind. The next video definitely won't go bonkers in the same way. And in order to, you have some influence over the next video. On my Twitter page and my Mastodon, I have, my brain is not working today. I put up a poll for the next video. I've got 4 choices. These are all things that are pretty much ready to go. I say pretty much, the one that's winning right now is old Matrox cards, and actually it's not going as well as I just hope it would. We have an error on YouTube. What is going on? I know it's not receiving enough video. Okay, that's fine. YouTube doesn't understand how efficient codecs work. The one that's winning right now is old Matrox cards, and I've been kind of furiously hunting on eBay today to find some older Matrox cards than what I have. Last week we found quite a few Matrox Millenniums, which I actually didn't have. I have a Mystique. Now I have a couple of Millenniums with RAM expansion boards, so they can actually, like, do things. But I don't have anything like, I don't have an Impression, which was their original 3D product, was the Impression, and then the G100 existed for a month before the G200 came out. And it's a real weird card. The G100 was like an evolution of the Mystique. So like the Impression, the Millennium, the Mystique, and the G100 are all kind of related. They're all kind of the same architecture that were just evolutions. And then they made a new architecture and debuted it with G200, and that was G200, G400, G550, and eventually turned into the Parhelia, sorta. But I don't have a G100. Well, I found one this morning on eBay, so we'll see. It's a real weird card. It's the performance level of a G200, but with the 3D feature set of a Mystique. It's very strange. It's very strange. I can't wait to show it to y'all. But anyway, we can look at the 4 choices I think were old Matrox cards. Looking at the ATI, Rage 2 and Rage Pro. They're kind of like the first cards from ATI that you and I would recognize as a 3D accelerator. Albeit not a terribly great one, but you would recognize it as a 3D accelerator if you saw one today. Also looking at I have a video I could do about the 780, the GTX 780 Ti. So the final revision Kepler, top of the line Kepler in 2024. How's it doing these days? I imagine the answer to that's not great, but you know, there are specifics there that could be interesting. And then I've prepped a little bit of benchmarking for a video on 3D Vcache and VR chat, since that's where I spend a lot of my time when I'm actually using a computer. And I think it's an interesting comparison because I managed to get a hold of a Ryzen 3600X, a 5600 non-X, and then my 5600X 3D, which I got when it was launched last year. They all have the same boost clocks, they have the same core counts, and except for the X3D, obviously, they all have the same amount of level 3 cache, which I think is really interesting. But that's basically like how interested are people in this. I'm interested because, you know, I want to know how much it is, how much of the performance improvement in VR chat is down to the 3D, you know, the 96 megs of level 3 cache versus the higher clocks of like the 5800X3D and the 7800X3D. So anyway, that's what's going on the channel. Those polls, the links for the polls are on, they're not anywhere where they should be, sorry, but they're on my Twitter and my Mastodon. So anyway, today, of course, last week we looked at the giant box, well, not the giant box, it's actually a surprisingly compact box full of graphics cards. And we got halfway through them, friends, and the box still looks full. There are literally half as many cards in here now. We got through 12, there are now 13 in the box. This is gonna be fun, I hope. We found some real winners last time, and 4 dead ones, maybe. Some of them might have been cards I didn't want to deal with, because I already have so many of them. But we don't know. I haven't looked. I don't know what is in the rest of the box. I haven't looked at the rest of the box. Honestly, it's been sitting down on the floor, down like there-ish, right next to that AM2 system. Is that AM2 or AM3? I don't know. It doesn't talk. So that's what's on the docket today. So how is chat doing? We've got 10 folks here. Jack68K, hello, welcome. Garth Beagle is here. Hello, welcome to the stream. Trina's Technobabble is back. Hello, welcome to the stream. And Timo Kusade is here. No, I did not pronounce that correctly. Timo Kusela, sorry, is here. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So let's take a look at the test bench. It's the same one. Snacking, nice, nice. So let's take a look at the test bench. It's the same one that we had last week. This is my AGP test bench. It is based on the venerable ECS K7S5A. Pop this card out of here. You can see what makes it special. That is indeed a universal AGP slot. That's why I use this for most of my AGP card testing. I've got it running basically the fastest CPU that the board can handle, which is an Athlon XP Thoroughbred at 2.133 gigahertz. It's also one of those weird, back in the day, it's one of those weird bridge boards that has SD-RAM slots and then DDR SD-RAM slots. It does actually run faster with the DDR. I've tested it. It's not a lot faster, but it is faster. But yeah, so it's running some DDR 400, I think it runs it at DDR 200. It's nothing special. So, and of course, last week, I complained every single time I booted it up about the Sound Blaster Audigy drivers I have installed. There is the Audigy there. It is still there. I also have I've moved the Intel network card all the way down to the end. Both are functional, and yes, I removed the stupid Audigy drivers. We don't have to worry about them. Not the drivers are still there. I removed that taskbar that would pop up at the top of the screen so helpfully. So, let's start with a baseline, hey? Let's boot this thing up. I've got I believe an Asus GeForce FX 5200, I think Ultra, in there. Let's fire it up and see what it does. Let's hop over to the capture card. It is actually working. I tested it before I went live. Of course, we know from last week that doesn't mean anything, but fingers crossed, it should be fine. There we go. Oh yeah, it has reset its speed to a 1900 plus. That's right. I think I'll leave it there. It doesn't need to be running at full speed to test these. We're not going to CPU bottleneck a Rage 2C. Or an S3 Verge. There's no way. Nigel Rhodes asks, dual channel RAM? No. This is the SIS 735 chipset, I think. Single channel RAM, either single channel SD RAM or single channel DRAM, DDR SD RAM. Garth Beagle says it has all the AGP. The toiletist toilets. The toiletist. I've seen you on Big Bad Biologist stream. The toiletist toiletist. You have a terrible and amazing username, by the way. Terrible and amazing. Audio's working again too. Hooray! So, yep, this is the test bench. This is what she does. I have, for my own convenience, I've switched over to a USB wireless mouse so we can poke around at this thing while I still look at the screen to actually see what's going on. Let's do a quick... Got WCPU on here? I don't. I'm so bad. I don't have WCPU on here. Oh, I do. There it is. Do a quick WCPU ID so y'all can see what this thing is. There you go. Ta-da! I'm pretty sure what's happened is that because we're doing PCI graphics cards, it downclocked its bus from 133 to 100. I'm pretty sure that's why we've got that CPU clock right now. But yeah, this is the beast. It's been phenomenally reliable. I really love it. If you ever get a chance to snag a K7S5A, I say go for it. Pretty decent board. I think most of them still do suffer from the capacitor plague, because most socket A motherboards suffer from capacitor plague issues. That was just the time. That was the time they were manufactured. But other than that, it's been really nice. It's maybe not as high performance as, like, you know, an NForce 2 Ultra, but it doesn't destroy itself like an NForce 2 Ultra does. So let's pop the FX5200 out of here. Unplug the VGA. There we go. And pull out the card. Ta-da! Look at that. Totally nondescript, whatever the heck this thing is. I bet this isn't even an Ultra. It is an Asus V9520, 128 meg. I don't think it's even an Ultra. 5 nanosecond SD RAM. Probably nothing special. Okay, so first card. What are you? There are no points awarded if you guess S3. Because there's a lot of S3 cards in this box. It is currently stuck in the bag. Ooh. We have another Matrox. Matrox Power Graphics IS Storm. I believe that is another Millennium. Let's throw it in and see if it works. So we found out last time that this PCI slot here, not super happy, but most of the cards would work in this PCI slot, so. Let's give it a shot. That is a no graphics card. I'm gonna reseat it, see what happens. Our first one on the dead pile. Tried it in the slot that I just said didn't work. I think that one goes in the dead pile. Doesn't look like it lived the best life, honestly. There's some scratches on it. Not missing any components that I can see. Hang on, let me try one thing. There is literally a dip switch on this thing. Way down there. It says dip switch 2. If it's turned on, VGA disable. So let's turn it off, see if it works. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. The stuff that people put on computers. Okay, let's see what it does. Both are set to off, which is apparently the default. 1 off means the BIOS is protected, which makes sense. You don't want to flash your BIOS accidentally. And 2 off means VGA is enabled. If this does it, I'm gonna laugh. Okay. Ooh, that doesn't look healthy. Let's see if I messed up my VGA cable here. No? That does not look happy. Oh boy. I mean, it works. Gareth Beagle says that it has a good/evil switch. Oh. Timo, hello, welcome. I said hi to you at the beginning of the stream, sorry. Hello again, though. But yes, Timo says, hepatitis C, Matrox. It so is. This is very gross. Oh boy. Blue? What's blue? Just have red and yellow, it's fine. Or just have red and green, it's fine. Yellow's great. Oh, yuck. I mean, it technically works. It technically works. Yeah, there you go. That is an MGA Millennium. With no blue channel. If I keep this one, I've got to put a label on it that says no blue, because otherwise, I'll be blue. I didn't notice anything weird about the VGA connector. It seems fine. None of the components by the VGA connector are missing. So weird. Alright, well this one's gonna go right over here, because it's gonna be a special one. It does technically work, I won't put it in the dead pile. But it's a card of last resort. Justin D. Morgan is here. Hello, welcome to the stream. Trina asks, do you do any other testing on these cards past plugging them in? Yes, if it's not a Matrox Millennium. The Millennium has a little bit of a problem in that it is technically a 3D accelerator, but it can't draw any textures. There's there's one game that works with it. It is NASCAR Racing, I think, for DOS. I haven't downloaded it or found it or gone hunting for it. I will be once I do the Matrox episode I'm talking about. But yeah, there's not really any way to test a Millennium in any meaningful way. 80386SX is here. Hello, welcome. Subnet Masked is here and asks, wrecked trace. I don't think so. there isn't a whole lot of trauma on the card. You know, the main chip has a couple of scratches on it. That's about it. I mean, I suppose it could be one of the legs not connecting correctly, but I don't know. I don't know anything about these older Matrox GPUs. I don't know anything about them. Overall, the card looks pretty good, other than like the scratches on the surface of the chip. There's no real issues with the back either. Looks pretty clean. It's got that old Matrox card look to it with the nice yellowing label. I don't know what they did with their labels, but every Matrox card I've ever seen has a label that's starting to yellow. Apparently just like the GPU output. Alright, card number 2. Let's see what we got. Just grab one, okay. Alright, what do we got? This is, I think, maybe another Matrox. It is... There's as many Matrox cards in this box as there are S3 cards. This is the same thing. This is another Millennium. Matrox MGA Power Graphics IS Storm Revision 2. That is an MGA Millennium. Probably also 2 megs of RAM, I think. If it doesn't have the memory expansion port, I think that's just 2 megs. So let's try it. This one's got the optional connector. Oh, this one might be a Millennium 2. The sticker on the back looks like it might be Millennium 2. Looks like it was OEM for HP. Let's try it. Plug that in, plug in VGA. And what do we get? Beeps or happiness? Nothing. That's interesting. Reseat it. A happy beep. Hey, and it's not yellow. Power supply just made an awful noise. Holy cow. I'm gonna need another high amp power supply. Yeah, I mean, Matrox 8386SX says Matrox was still making video cards about 10 years ago. They were in the high end at the time, video player computers. Matrox is technically still making video cards, although they've turned into an add-in board manufacturer, and they mostly resell AMD GPUs these days. Their story's really interesting. Well, I mean, it's a little corporate stuffy, but it's kind of interesting. They tried, they really tried, and then they really didn't. The G200 was actually a pretty decent graphics card, and then the G400 was quite nice. Like it was a legitimate competitor. For a while, there were 3 players in the graphics card market. It was ATI with the Rage, with Rage 128, and NVIDIA with the Riva TNT and TNT2, and well, you had 3D Effects with the Voodoo 3, and then there was also Matrox with the G400, which is actually fairly competitive. Not like incredibly competitive, but fairly competitive. There we go. We've got another MGA Millennium. Looks like everything works. It's running with drivers installed, so we've got high color, access to high color, so it seems to be working. Again, it's not a card that you can really play games on. You at least need a Mystique to run most Direct3D games. Let's see. I have some games installed on here. Some really early stuff. Forsaken's usually a good go-to for like early Direct 3D stuff. It was one of the first Direct 3D games. That's not where my keyboard is. My keyboard's right to the left of me. Let's just call that Forsaken. Beautiful. So a lot of early cards would work on Forsaken, but like this isn't gonna. I don't think this is gonna do anything. It's probably gonna give us an error because it can't do texturing, or we're just gonna get nothing but white blobs. Or it's gonna work. No, there you go. White blobs. We just get a bunch of white blobs because it can't display textures. There you go. That's what happens on a Millennium. Texture load failed. But it's working. It's working as well as a Millennium will work. Did this reset my graphics quality settings? I don't think it did. No, it didn't. Okay. We'll shut that down. And next card. That's fully working. Doesn't even need hepatitis C treatment. I'm thinking now about maybe putting the other Millennium on the dead pile because do I really want to fix it? I don't know. I don't know. That goes there with the other working card. It's an S3. What do we got? Oh, fun. I think it's an early Trio 64. Oh, we've seen this one before. It's the Stealth 64 DRAM. This is apparently the slow version of the Stealth 64. So this is a Diamond card, Diamond Multimedia. Stealth was their line of S3 graphics cards for a long time. They just had a whole bunch of different Stealth variants that use different S3 graphics processors, or video chips in this case. We've got a Trio 64. 86C764X. So, let's throw it in. It's probably got, I'm gonna guess, that's 1 meg, and it's expandable to 2. Now I did go back, as people suggested, and harvest the DRAM chips off of the dead S3 cards from last time. So I do have additional DRAM chips we could try with these. These are just little discrete DRAMs. Look at how cute they are. Tiny little DRAMs. We can give it a try. See if it works first. Trio 64. There's been a surprising lack of S3 Verges in this box. Works. And I think that's because the Verge has such a reputation. You know, it's known as the 3D decelerator, that when people actually like scrap a Verge out of a machine, they actually go on eBay and they sell it. That's my guess. Which is why we're seeing like a lot of Trio 64s. Joe is here from Joe's Computer Museum. Joe says, play SimCopter. It works on nothing. Nigel Rhodes says the G400 is one of the fastest DOS 2D cards. Yeah, for a long time, Matrox's cards were really terrible at VGA. I read a review of the Impression Pro PCI. It's a PCI with 3D accelerator. It doesn't do texturing, but it was a 3D accelerator released in 1995 from Matrox that achieved 12 frames per second in Duke 3D at 320 by 200. 12! awful. So for a long time, apparently Matrox cards were just absolutely terrible at VGA, at least VGA performance. And then they improved it a lot with some of their later cards. I think maybe starting with the Mystique, maybe the G100, maybe the G200. I don't know. But at some point, Matrox like figured their stuff out, and they released some cards that were really solid. They were good 2D cards, they worked well in DOS, and the 3D image quality was really good. Surprisingly good. Even as far back, I think as far as back as the Mystique, you could run Matrox cards in 32-bit color. I know at least the G100 could, which was basically unheard of at the time for a 3D accelerator. But like, so there's our Trio 64. So 800 by 600, 16-bit is the highest it'll go. I don't know if that's 1 meg or 2 meg. Do I have Everest on here? I don't know if I do. The power supply is whining something fierce. I do not have Everest Home on here. I don't know how much RAM it has. I didn't see it when it started up. If somebody peeped that while it was booting. But it works! It's Trio 64 and it works. It is functional. So this isn't a 3D accelerator, right? So we'd have to run Forsaken in software rendering, which is fine. This is a however many gigahertz Athlon. The software renderer is going to run just fine. If it'll start, apparently it won't start. Never mind. That's extremely locked up. Okay. See what it'll do in DOS. I don't have a whole lot of DOS games on here, but I actually even don't have my DOS boot menu in here. What I usually do. Is the stream cutting out for anyone else? I have terrible internet. Currently, YouTube says I have an excellent connection. I'm not sure if I believe it, but my upload is not terrific. It's gotten better, but I have to go through Comcast. So, yeah, my upload stability is not amazing. Yeah, sorry folks. Sorry. It's just, my internet's not amazing. I don't really have any options out here. I could get Verizon 5G to the home, which I've heard is terrifically stable and performant. No, I'm not not crossing my fingers behind my back when I say that. Exactly. Comcrap. That's exactly how I feel about them. Alright, let's boot this thing up in DOS mode. Yes, I do this like a plebeian. This machine's not set up for DOS. It's not set up for DOS. Yeah, Justin D. Morgan says, sorry to hear that. They're not as Comcastic as they claim to be. Well, it's like the Windows Genuine Experience, right? Like, what is the Windows Genuine Experience? Microsoft? Have you used your own operating system? Right? And you ask Comcast. So what is Comcastic? Comcast? Your internet's not exactly amazing. So let's go to games. I only have Windows games on here, but I've got Quake, and I left the DOS executable in here, so we can run Quake. VGA performance, just fine. just fine. You want to see what this thing does with a quick time demo? Map start. So if we do time demo, demo 1. That's Trio 64. We're being held back by the VGA card. 155 FPS. Yeah, this thing has a lot more in it. This Athlon has a lot more in it in DOS Quake than 155 FPS. We are being held back by the Trio 64. But that's okay. It's honestly, it's a card meant for like fast 486s. Honestly. It's not meant for running. Oh, this thing went to sleep, didn't it? Stop that. There we go. Not a card meant for putting into an Athlon. But that works. That works. The FCC ID up in the corner makes me think that it might be a 2 MB card, since it ends in 2M, but I don't know. Let's go to the working pile. Right next to the Matrox. All right, we're getting down to it. I8386SX said, I put a Microsoft sticker on my vacuum and it started sucking again. That's phenomenal. I love that joke. That's so good. That is so good. All right, and we have another Matrox card. What are you? 1996. Looks like 2 megs of RAM. It is an MGA 1064 SG. It's an original Mystique. We have an original Mystique. This one can render textures. Let's see if this works. I hope this works. Hey. Pixel Pipe says, woo, time for some NASCAR fun. A Mystique, I think, should work with Direct 3D. I believe. I'm pretty sure. Because we have texture rendering now. It's just very bad. The Mystique was also known as the Matrox Mistake by the press and gamers alike back in the day, because the image quality was so bad. I can't wait to see it. Last week we tried an S3 Verge in Forsaken, turning off the bilinear filtering and the perspective correction, which moved the performance from about 20 frames per second up to nearly 60 on the Verge, and also made it look like one of the nastiest looking games I've ever played. It was kind of amazing, and I loved it. I want to run Forsaken on this Mystique. I want to see how bad it is. I've heard if you really want pain, you run incoming on it, because incoming is all about alpha blending, and one of the Mystique's real bad points is it doesn't do alpha blending correctly. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Hey, Justin T. Morgan says, looks like my K-Pro power supply just had one shorted rectifying diode. So maybe I'll be able to fix it when I get the parts from Mauser. Nice. So you might actually have a May Pro video this May. K-Pro is May Pro. May Pro is K-Pro. May is K-Pro Pro. Ah, I see. It was a response to Subnet. Subnet had said, the day Microsoft makes something that doesn't work is the day they make a vacuum cleaner. That's excellent. Fantastic. I'm caught up now. Sorry, I'm bad at reading. I8386SX says I have 20 megabits per second upload, but it does the job 99% of the time. I'm supposed to have like 25 or 26. Why did it turn on active desktop? What? Windows? What are you doing? Go away. Oh boy. So, I'm supposed to have like 25 or 26 megabits upload. I used to have 6. Literally just 6. It's the whole reason that I stream in H.265, because I just didn't have the bandwidth to do it before. But this 25 or 26 megabits is extremely unreliable. The upload speed is faster, but it's real rocky. So I'm actually streaming at, I think, 14, 12 out of OBS. So OBS limits itself to like 12 megabits, about half of what I'm supposed to get, because that's about all I can rely on, honestly. There we go. We have an MGA Mystique. Hell yeah. I want to see this thing run Forsaken. Let's do... Oh boy. So these are all, the selector renderer setting here, these are just configuration files that are in Forsaken's directory. I'm trying to think of which one would be the most appropriate for this. Basically what it does is it sets like maximum texture sizes, initial resolutions, it hints at how much VRAM you have, which in this case I think we have 2 megabytes total. I'm going to try generic, because I've done that with a 2 megabyte S3 Verge before, and it generally figures itself out. Let's see what it does. We have an image on the screen. We have textures! Oh, look at that! Oh, that's so bad! Oh, I love it. It's so awful. Oh gosh. Oh, that's so gross. Hey, that does actually do the thing. So if I go over to options, yep, that's stipple alpha, all right. Oh, yikes. That is so gross. It's simultaneously, it's disgusting, and also I love it. I love it to death. I'm a little weird. I had a Sega Saturn when I was a kid, and that stipple alpha. Just love that stipple alpha. Oh boy. All right. So let's we should probably run it with everything enabled. Now it doesn't support bilinear texture filtering. I'm not sure if it supports perspective correct textures. I think it does. Like I'm looking at the ceiling here, and it looks like I'm not seeing any, like, you know, breaks in the texture that would indicate that it's affine. So let's just run the benchmark. This is not fast. This is not fast. Is it 320 by 200? This is slower than the Verge. Oh my gosh. Alright, play demo. And we'll do nuke. Oh wow. I mean, it's there, it's doing the thing. I think we do have perspective correction. It sure looks like it. Like when we ran it on the Verge last time with that turned off, like all the textures on the outside of the display just warped like crazy, and now it has locked up. And now it has locked up. Maybe drivers. I've got a fan pointed at it, so I don't think it's heat. But drivers, from what I've heard, are not the Mystique's strong point. Wow, jeez, that's incredible. Before I reboot this, you can see there's like dithering artifacts in the shading. Wow. Wow. That is incredible. I'm gonna make it run expendable. It's gonna be really bad. 2 megs of VRAM, it's not gonna do very well. But I have to know. I have to know. Justin D. Morgan says, I remember Stipple Alpha. Glad we got past that, but yeah, I'm also nostalgic for it. Yeah, it's a thing. All these render errors that I actually really like. PlayStation dithering? Oh, PlayStation dithering. Jeez. Is there a more nostalgic effect than wobbly polygons from fixed point math and then a nice PlayStation dither over the top? Oh, jeez. Toiletist says, this is making me want to play System Shock. Yeah? Original System Shock in DOS? Okay, so let's see. Will this even work? Will it even work? I'm gonna lower our expectations and our resolution. It's trying. How bad is this gonna be? Show me 5 FPS. Yo, that's more than 5. I can't read what it says because it's Stipple Alpha, but that's definitely more than 5. Look at that! Look at it go! What? That's playable. Oh, look at that. Look at all that stipple. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is doing the thing. Oh, that's not great. What is going on with those textures? Oof. And that's supposed to be... It's supposed to be black. I think it's being rendered as transparent. That is incredible. Jamie Gilhooly, hello. Welcome to the stream. Jamie says, you mentioned your PSU whining. Is there a chance it's causing your crashes? Possibly. This thing worked fine last week. Started whining today. I don't know. We're also testing graphics cards that came in a box, packed completely full. There were 25 graphics cards in this box. So I'm not super, you know, not expecting any of these to actually work. The fact that this is going as long as it has gone is kind of incredible to me. Oh my gosh. All that stipple. Holy cow. I'm not gonna lie, I kinda love it. I kinda love it. So the G100, I thought for the longest time that the Matrox G100 was just like a devolution of the G200, right? Like they just downclocked it and called it a G100. No, the G100 is an evolution of this card, of the Mystique. It's a faster version of the Mystique. It still has all the stipple alpha problems. It does actually technically do bilinear texture filtering. And it's apparently rather fast. I ordered one this morning on eBay and I'm anxiously awaiting it because I can't wait to see a high-speed stipple alpha, 32-bit rendering capable, you know? Like, how wild would that be? That would be like the card to get for like retro game dev. 32-bit color. Technically it does multi-texturing. Stipple alpha. I think they made them all the way up to like 8 megs, maybe 16 megs of VRAM. The one that I ordered I think is the 8 meg version. That's a lot of VRAM for something that does stipple alpha. Ah, that would be so cool. That would be so cool. So I'm gonna kill off the benchmark here and see what we got for a result. Because I can't read what the numbers in the lower left say, thanks to the stippling. Ah, gosh. This is so wild. I would play games on this, honestly. I would play games on this. I love the way this looks. You got the colored lighting and the point filtering on the textures. And of course the stipple alpha. Gosh, this is nice. I love it. I am such a nerd. I am such a nerd. Alright, what did we get? What did we get with that? Properties, find target. Where's timedemo.txt? Yo! Average 30 FPS! I mean, at 320 by 240, it's not great, but wow! That is... I'm really looking forward to that G100 now. So I'm gonna call you Forsaken results. Okay. Freaking awesome. I love it. I wonder if so it's got a connector for the memory board, and I wonder if the memory boards, because we had two Millenniums last time that had memory boards on them. I wonder if the same memory boards work on the Mystique. If I can make this a 4 megabyte card. I'll test that later. I will test that later. We got a lot of cards to get through. It is already 5 o'clock. We've been at this for an hour and we've done, what, 3 cards? 3 cards. Chop chop. Hell yeah! Chip's a little warm. Not bad though. But you can see there's the board-to-board connectors for the memory upgrade. I'll test later, probably just off screen, whether the memory boards for the Millennium work on this, because that's pretty awesome. We've tested 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. So we had the one that had hepatitis C. So, go for the bottom one. I don't know what it is. that is... Hey, look at that! It's an S3 Trio 64. This is the Trio 64 V+. This one's by STB. Ooh. STB, of course, was the graphics board manufacturer that 3DFX bought out. That was part of the collapse of 3DFX. This has... Maybe that's normal. It's got some interesting soldering on the VGA connector here. And of course, only one thingy. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Not going to do a ton of testing of this one, whether it works or not. Because I think that's the fifth Trio 64 that I found in this box. It works. See if it'll load drivers. If it does, we're good. Barroso24 asks, V plus or V2 plus? I will check once I have this out of here. Gutbomb wants to see what the Mystique looks like in composite on a CRT. A CRT TV. That would look pretty great, I think. Oh, that looks gross. There you go. Trio 64 V+. Dog asks, was there Savage 2000 last week? There was not, unfortunately. No one's going to put a Savage 2000 into a $20 box of scrap graphics cards. There's no way. It is so hard to get your hands on a Savage 2000. So hard. Honestly, the easiest ones to get your hands on are Savage 4s, which aren't that bad, other than the drivers being kind of garbage. I have one Savage 4 that I've been able to test for about 5 minutes at a time before it crashes. And it's pretty impressive. Image quality is good, it's fairly fast, it's surprisingly compatible. And yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's just, you know, it came out in what, 1998, 99? It was so completely behind the leading edge. So there is something weird going on with the either the gamma from this card, or it's something to do with those soldered connectors. It's very bright. Way too bright. Way too bright. But other than that, it seems to be working. It does not have hepatitis C. And see if it'll run Forsaken in software rendering. So the last one wouldn't. Ooh. Hey, there we go. This one will run it in software. Yeah, the software renderer has transparency support that the Mystique lacks. But we are doing affine texture rendering here. Definitely. This is definitely affine. Things are looking a little warbly. Anyway, that's cool. It'll actually run that in software. That goes on the working pile. This one does not have any memory expansion capabilities. 1996. Nothing else on it really identifies how much RAM it's got. It's probably... It's gonna be 1 or 2 megabytes. Nothing more than that. But yeah, Trio 64V Plus. Works. Nice. Goes in the working pile. Well done. I'm more and more inclined just to take the Millennium that's all yellow and throw it on the dead pile. I feel one in here. I'm gonna grab this. Whatever this is. Let's see what this is. That is an ATI. ATI what? It's just a Mach 64. Got a lot of RAM on this one though. Looking good. Let's see if it runs. It's pretty clean, honestly. Surprisingly. There's not a lot on the back of this card. It's mostly ground plane. That's kind of funny. Alright. You have probably not been plugged into a computer in 30 years. Reseated a couple of times. Still unhappy. Try the other slot. Works in the other slot. There we go. Trina's Technobabble asks, where did you get this box of cards from? Yeah, I got it on eBay. I was pointed to it from some other folks. But I got it on eBay. And it looked like it'd be a fun time. Digging through a box of graphics cards. That one is falling out of its bag. I didn't realize at the time just how many cards there were in here. Like, I thought this was maybe a dozen cards. Maybe. And then there was twice as many as that in this box. When I pulled it out of my storage, my mail locker at the apartment complex here, I was like a little worried because it weighed a lot more than I was expecting for like 10 or 12 graphics cards. Which makes sense. It was not 10 or 12 graphics cards, it was 25 graphics cards. David Starbucks says, I got it from the Island of Misfit Toys. Pretty much. Pretty much. Charlotte Thorne asks, she's got a lot of stuff that uses SCART connectors. Does anyone have any recommendations for SCART to HDMI converters? That is a great question. I have no idea. But this stream does get a fair amount of Eurozone play. Something about the time zones and when I do the stream. Perhaps someone watching has an idea. Who knows? Hey, look at that. We've got drivers. Yeah, basically. Trina says, I bought a box like that as I needed one of the cards for a client, and it was cheaper to get the box of cards than just the one card. Absolutely. Like, the stuff that I've gotten out of this that I'm actually going to be using, like the Rage 2C, the Mystique, the 3 Millenniums, 2 of them with RAM expansion boards, this was a $20 box. Like, any of those cards could go on eBay for 20 bucks flat. Easy. Easy. Alright, so we've got a Mach 64. Nice, nice. Should also run Forsaken in software rendering. It's not a 3D chip. David Starbucks says, 20 bucks, I'm jealous. 20 bucks plus $15 shipping, because, you know, it weighed like, I don't know, 15 pounds? I don't know what's weighed. It weighed a lot more than I thought it was gonna. I can see why they had to charge the money for shipping it. It's not 15 pounds. It was something like 5 or 6 pounds of box. It was very dense. Yeah, seems to run fine in software. Cool. Ta-da! Okay, shut that baby down. I really don't have like old ATI 2D cards, not in the collection. And back in the day when I had, you know, when I had a 486, I had an early Pentium, they were too rich for my blood. I mostly had Cirrus Logic cards. Disable, enable. Oh, interrupt, disable, enable. Okay. Nice. But yeah, works. Mach 64. They were one of the ATI's 2D cards were one of the high image quality, you know, 2D options out there. I was a poor, so I used Cirrus Logic. Boy, did I use Cirrus Logic. I had like 4 Cirrus Logic cards. Alright, I'm gonna grab this one that's fallen out of its bag, so it doesn't fall out of its bag anymore. What do we got? Hey! It's another Trident. This is the second Trident in this box. This is a Trident T GUI 9680 from 1994. With expansion RAM. Nice. Let's see if it works. Caps look a little questionable, but everything looks like it's in order. Give that EEPROM a little bit more English to get into the socket, but let's see if this thing works. Hey! David Starbucks says, I hope you find a Matrox M3D in there. It's a rare and highly sought after card. Probably not. But I will say, this morning in my search for Matrox cards, I did get my hands on a PCI impression for a fair amount of money. It was pretty cheap for what PCI impression, for what impression cards go for. Especially like if you've managed to find one of the ISA impression cards, like they are money. They're more than 3DFX money. This was a PCI impression. It's Rev 2 of the chip, same basic idea though. You know, it's a 3D chip meant for CAD, it doesn't do texturing. Will be really good for my demo video, and I didn't break the bank buying it. Not even close. So, hopefully it arrives and it works. These days, neither one is guaranteed. Okay. So we have got a Trident Tigui. Nice. Smooth. What is up with that? Yeah, alright, okay. Let's set this to 640 by 480. This seems to be a pretty performant 2D card. I think I'm right in saying that the T-GUIs were not 3D. I think it wasn't until Trident Blade 3D, right? That Trident had 3D cards, I think? Let's put you up to 640 by 480. We've got plenty of CPU, we can do this in software. Shouldn't be a problem. Just whether the Trident is up to the task, and it's not really. Does it do 320 by 240? No, we just did 320 by 240, didn't we? What about 320 by 200? No. Oh, that's better. That's actually on the screen. But yeah, this is Forsaken in software rendering. Actually runs pretty okay on the T-GUI. Pretty smooth. We've got lots and lots of CPU behind it to make it nice and fast, but the video card is keeping up. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. We've got our affine texture mapping, because we're doing software rendering. See the textures warble and snap a little bit. Overall, though, not bad. Not bad. Let me out. Let me out. Stop running, please. Why is escape not working? It's weird. Control-Alt-Delete doesn't work. It's not responding to any keyboard input at this point. Alright, so slight downgrade to the Trident. No keyboard input once you start playing the game. Funny, but it does work. The last Trident card I ever had was way back in my 486 days. I had an ISA Trident 8900, I want to say? The TVGA? It was awful. It was really bad. I haven't really ever had a great... I haven't really, thought positively about Trident ever since, but, like, that's not bad. The T-GUI was not bad. It's pretty competent. So, we are getting down there. It is 5:15. We're going to run through this box. I don't want to do a third week of this, honestly. I'm not fishing for views. I don't want to do this for another week. I've got stuff I want to do. So, this one is poking at me, so I'm going to I'll pull this one out of the box. What do we got? Hey! An S3. Are you a Trio 64? You are! Another Trio 64 V+. Does not have the memory expansion. All the components on it look okay. There's one bent jumper. It otherwise looks fine. I'm surprised how well these things went through the mail. They were literally packed into this box, as tight as you could pack them. And I think we had one that was actually damaged. Everything else has been basically fine. It's kind of incredible. Oh, here we go. This is the Diamond Stealth 64 Video 2001. Ta-da! Let's see if it works. Feels very dusty. I wouldn't be surprised if I have to reseat this a couple of times to get it to make contact. That's a whole lot of nothing. Seat it real quick. There we go. David Starbucks says, if you want a Trident card, Justin has them all. I've heard that Trident is Justin's thing. Francois says, did I hear Trident? Garth Beagle says, speed round. And Ian Scott is here. Hello. Welcome to the stream. We're getting through it. We've only got, I don't know how many left, but this box was crammed full with 25 graphics cards as of last week, and we are just about through all of it. I see something fun in there. Hopefully that one works. I hope. Especially after the brilliance that was the Mystique just a couple of cards ago. So, Ian, we are testing graphics cards. I bought a $20 box of graphics cards on eBay that was marked for scrap. It arrived literally crammed as full as you could possibly make it with graphics cards. Almost all of them have been PCI. We've got a couple of AGP ones, and there was one PCI Express, a 8400 GS with no heatsink that I just immediately tossed in the dead pile, because who cares? There's been some bangers in here. We just looked at a original Matrox Mystique that functions with all of the glorious stipple alpha that it's known for. That was very cool. Last week I found like 3 Millenniums, Matrox Millenniums. 2 of them had their RAM expansion boards, which are not super easy to find. Ian says, I love the idea of a graphics card lucky dip. That's exactly what this is. It's exactly what this is. This is a graphics card lucky dip. Lucky dip. You got it. Grab a card, plug it in, see if it works. And in this case, this one does. This is another Trio 64. This one does not have the weird gamma issue that the last one did. It's a little bit yellow, but it's not as yellow as this Millennium that we looked at that was missing its blue channel entirely. Oh, that's looking pretty okay. There we go. Let's see if this will run Forsaken in software. Because I had one of these Trio 64s that wouldn't. Oh yeah, I set it to 640 by 480. I guess it's a better test, honestly. Because, like... Oh, the mouse cursor is just stuck on the screen. I can't make it go away. I thought I set this back to... No, I set this back to 320 by 240. Why is it running at 640 by 480? Although I'd say this is... It's a little more performant than the Trident was at 640 by 480. So let's go back to 320 by 240. Nice. Smooth. We'll run the demo. Let's see if it'll let me actually exit out of the demo this time. Pretty good. Honestly, I think it's slower than the Trident. Maybe a little bit. Oh, it's picked back up. I think it is actually running at VSync. It seems to be okay. It's a little shaky for a while there. This also has disabled my keyboard input for some reason. I don't know why. I can alt tab. I can alt tab. Okay. Close you. There we go. Not bad. Works. It's very dusty. Ugh. Needs a cleaning. That goes in the working pile. Alright. I'm going to save that one for last. As much as I want to mess around with it. Let's do this one. I don't know what this one is. It's another Matrox card with a RAM expansion card on it. Matrox MGA Power Graphics IS Storm R2, so we've got another Millennium. With the RAM expansion card again. I don't know if that'll work on the Mystique. It seems like it's bigger. Oh, where did the Mystique go? There it is. Yeah, that's not the right board-to-board connector. Shoot. That's unfortunate. These two won't work together. You can see the Mystique's board-to-board connector is much smaller than the Millennium's. That's too bad. Oh well. Oh well. Yeah, if you back up like, I don't know, 10 minutes? 20 minutes? I've got footage of the Mystique running Expendable, which is kind of hilarious. 320 by 240. 320 by 240 with all the stipple alpha you could ever want out of a card. Alright, so Millennium. These are technically 3D accelerators, but they can't do texturing. This is the one where there was one game that supported it. That's a whole lot of nothing, so let's reseat this card. One game that supported these things. There we go. And that was NASCAR Racing. I will find it. I am planning on doing an episode on early Matrox cards, and I will have to go find NASCAR Racing so I can show it running on a Millennium for whatever good that'll do. Oh. That Mystique was cool. I like that. You missed it, Ian, but I've said a couple of times. I went graphics card hunting this morning because I know we're gonna do. Well, I'm pretty sure folks are gonna want to see an early Matrox episode, and I'm picking up a G100. I ordered it this morning, and I found an Impression Pro PCI. So it's not quite the earliest Matrox 3D card that they ever made, because that was the Matrox Impression on ISA bus. But it's pretty close. Same chip. Should have the same 3D capabilities. It's going to be interesting to see it, I think. I think it only works in AutoCAD, honestly. I think that's the only thing it actually functions in. It's AutoCAD. Alright, so we've got... There's our MGA Millennium. Ta-da! And yeah, if we run this in... We run Forsaken in 3D. We get... nothing! Because it can't do texturing. That is what happens when your 3D card can't do texturing. And even without having textures, there's a lot of dithering going on that vertex lighting. Like, a lot of dithering. Yikes. And now it should crash. Yep, there we go. Failed, sys texture load failed for characters 1 ppm. I believe that is the text. That's just the text texture. Init view failed, render scene failed, and dead. That's a millennium for you. That's what it can do. Not a lot. I kind of love these things though. They're kind of hilarious. Oh, and I uninstalled the I've got an Audigy in here, and it put this stupid like creative taskbar up at the top of the screen. I uninstalled that, but you know what it left behind? It left behind the free AOL. Don't forget to sign up for your free AOL. And unlimited internet. No longer do you have to set a timer when you dial up to the internet to make sure you don't go over. Oh, amazing. This is, I think, the 4th millennium in this box. I think this is the 4th millennium. I suppose I could pop the board-to-board connector off here and y'all can see what this thing looks like. Since this is the 3rd one with the memory expansion card. Don't like doing that at all. But this is, okay, so here's the card without the memory expansion card on it, right? 2 SD RAM chips. I think that's 2 megs of RAM. And then this is the adorable little memory expansion board. Look at that. Look at how cute that is. And it just plops on this way. So we get this lined up right. Just like that. Memory expanded. But yeah, hey, if anybody needs a millennium, got some extras. All right. I can see what one of these is now. I'm saving it for last because I think it'll be kind of fun. I was not expecting this. I seriously did not plan this. I did not plan this at all. Somebody put a frickin' voodoo in a box of scrap graphics cards. Somebody put a voodoo in a box of scrap graphics cards. If you ever see a box of scrap graphics cards on eBay, you go and you buy it, because you might save a voodoo. Oh my god. Who does that? This thing's in better shape than my voodoo. It's the Diamond Monster 3D. It's the Diamond Monster 3D. This machine's way too fast to test this. But I've got a machine that we can test this in. Give me a sec. So this will be the last card we look at. Let's do the second. Let's do the other one I thought was going to be last card. Jeez, a freaking voodoo. Okay, so this is the one I've been spotting this whole time. Been eyeing. Like, I know what that is. I know what this is. I think I know what this is. It probably isn't what I think it is. But it is not what I think it is. Oh, it's a Rage Pro with the memory expansion. Heck yeah. I have a Matrox G200 that looks exactly like this from the top. It's got this memory expansion board thing on it. Heck yeah. That's nice. We got a lot of RAM chips on this thing. 4 on the main board, and then another 4 on the memory expansion. Seriously, if you find a box of scrap graphics cards, just get it. Just get it. Let's see if it works. It is AGP. Nice. Use memory module 001. Nope. 100. 401010. 401010 for 2 megs. Or 100 401012 for 4 megs. I don't know which one it is. I don't think it says. Oh, I think it may be a 2 meg expansion board. This has the possibility of being a 4 megabyte. Whoa. Oh, that totally just broke. Ah, old plastics. Old plastics. I hope this thing still seats in there. Oh, it'd be so annoying. Yeah, I think these are placed on the board front and back. And we've got 2 banks, because it's marked on here as 1 megabyte, 2 megabyte. The back doesn't have markings for like 3 megabytes, 4 megabytes. So I'm guessing this is a 2 megabyte card with a 2 megabyte expansion. Let's see if it works. I can't believe this had a freaking voodoo in it. Unbelievable. What? What? So this is my voodoo that I just did an episode on. As you can see, I've made a lovely little stand for it. And that I noticed while I was doing B-roll, the top electrolytic capacitor on it has popped off of it. I don't know when or how. But also, my voodoo, I paid $75 freaking dollars for it a couple of years ago because it's a repair. You can see we've got some trace damage up there that's been repaired. Card works fine. But I got it for, you know, what at the time was a pretty good discount because it was a repair. And now, this card is not missing that capacitor. It's perfectly fine. It does not have trace damage on the backside. It looks quite nice, honestly. It's in pretty good shape. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't see any missing components on it at all. Again, this box was crammed full of graphics cards. You could not put more graphics cards in this box. It was bulging at the sides. Somebody put a voodoo in there. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Monsters. Rage Pro. Pixel Pipe says, hey, that card supports texturing. It sure does. So the whole, like I literally just did a Toiletist asks, is it a good card? I just did an episode on the original Voodoo. This card basically made PC 3D gaming a thing. Basically single-handedly. This card made PC 3D gaming a thing. Because at the time, we've been going through these cards, right? Like, that Matrox Mystique that we saw, that, you know, couldn't do alpha blending correctly, that was released in the same year as the Voodoo, right? That was state of the art before this came out. And this appears to have... Oh, it did not crash. I didn't press the power button. It just took a while to install the drivers. The curse of ATI drivers, am I right? Ian Scott says that card is professional at raging. So... Yeah, well, we'll see it in a minute. We'll see it in a minute. I have the machine that I used to produce my Voodoo video last week is it's sitting right over there. I'm just gonna pull it out at the end of this stream, and we'll run this Voodoo through some paces and see if it works. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just put a freaking Voodoo in a lot of scrap cards. It's awesome, but also I'm scared for humanity. This Rage Pro appears to work. It's doing some weird stuff with the VGA phase. We've got a quite the significant border way over there on the far side. So let's see if this will tell us how much RAM is on it. Nope. That's okay. Let's have it run expendable. We're going to do this at 640 by 480. This is the most powerful 3D card we've seen so far today. That we plugged into a machine so far today. I have a Rage Pro in the collection, but it's the very late model one that's been cost reduced. Oh yeah. 20 FPS, 15 FPS. It looks like maybe that's running VSync, I think. Still not very fast. It's a Rage Pro. What are you gonna do? But like, if we run this at the same resolution that the Mystique ran this game, so this is pretty typical for a Rage Pro. That's not abnormal at all. Toiletus says, oh, it's a history card. It's the Gus Max for eyeballs. Yeah, basically. I would argue that it has a more important place in history even than the Gravis Ultrasound, because it basically set the stage for 3D gaming on the PC. It was getting there. 3D gaming on the PC was getting there, but the Voodoo, the original Voodoo, really kicked it into high gear. Oh, what? It won't run at this resolution. Come on. See if I can get it to do 320 by 200. Because if I can get it to run at this resolution, if it'll run at this resolution, it should blow that Mystique out of the water. It won't run at this resolution, because of course it won't. Fine. Let's see if it'll run Quake 3 if I have the right driver for that. No, I don't have the right driver. I'll mess with that later. With the right drivers, a Rage Pro will run Quake 3. I mean, not well, but it'll run Quake 3. Alright, so that is a functional Rage Pro. Probably 4 megabyte. Which is not awful. I mean, it's awful, but it's not awful. Put you down there, the working pile. That's your sleeve. We've got 2 cards left. 2 cards left. That's it for the box. Oh, It's empty. Except for some gross in it. This one's sliding out of the box. No, it's not. What is this one? Oh. It's an arc. I don't know anything about this card. I don't have the faintest idea what this thing is. That's kind of awesome. Arc Logic. Ian Scott says, "Oh, it's an arc. Those are great DOS cards." There you go. It is an Arc Logic. I have no idea. I have no idea what this is. Let's plug it in and find out. What a better opportunity than now. Hey, hey. That's pretty cool. Pixelpipe asks, is that first PCI slot still not working? Not in every case. The second slot has appeared to be more compatible, but we just had a card that wouldn't boot up in the second slot. I had to put it in the first slot. Ian Scott says you'll probably see the fastest 3D bench results out of that card than anything else. So 3D bench is a super old VGA benchmark in the DOS bench suite, which I do have on this machine. We will boot this into DOS and take a look at it, because why not? No drivers. No drivers in Windows 98 for this. Incredible. Subnet says deoxit that socket. Yeah, it needs to be cleaned. It does, it does. So let's just drop it straight into DOS right now. This is clearly having its potential wasted in Windows 98. Okay, so one, we're going to run 3D Bench, which is meant for like 386s or so. I have a piece of fuzz on my shirt. Which is meant for like 386s, 486s on an Athlon running at who knows what speed. This is going to be ridiculous. This is 3D Bench. 391 frames per second. Alright, I'll make it stop so we don't give everyone in the audience seizures. Let's do PC Player. 320 by 240. $295 FPS in PC Player. And we are losing vertical sync? Maybe? It might just be too many frames. It might just be too many frames for it. Let's do Quake. Remember how I said the The Trio 64 was holding us back. The Trio 64 was holding us back. We went from 155 FPS to 208. Just with this card that has no drivers in Windows 98. That's very impressive. That's very impressive. I will keep a note of that that is a DOS card. That's pretty great. Let's see if it does Visa. Let's do... I thought I had a Visa thingamabob in here. Let's try FastVid and see if it'll work. It ran without crashing. Okay. Let's see what it does at 640 by 480. What? The same? No, it didn't. It didn't set it. It didn't set it. That's why. No, it did not set it. It does not have Visa support. Let's see what it'll do at... I pushed the right thing, right? I did. Yeah, no, it just doesn't set 640 by 480. Okay. So we can try the like halfway point of 360 by 480 and see if that does anything. Oh, it does. Oh, it does. Oh, wow. "66 FPS? That's actually not terrible. With this weird halfway resolution. Huh. Ian Scott says it has some Visa support. I don't know if I have Univibe on here or anything. To like enable that Visa support. But Quake is certainly not seeing it. If it's not in here, I don't have it. Let's run a quick speed test on it just to see. Clean. That is some clean output. There you go. It is an ArcLogic Stingray 64 with 2 megs of RAM. That's pretty cool. That's very cool. David Starbucks says 30 FPS at 640 by 480 was high end. 66 FPS was a pipe dream back in the day. Absolutely. And to get 66 FPS at that like 360 by 480 resolution, like not even happening. You were lucky if you got 15. I mean that sincerely. You were lucky. You were running a fast Pentium 4 or a fast Pentium 2 if you were getting 15 FPS in that mode. Well, that's cool. An ArcLogic Stingray. Neat. That leaves one card. Who wants to put in bets now that it's an S3? I still have not looked at it. Cool. ArcLogic. What a great lucky dip this was. Holy cow. If you guessed S3, you were right. Yet another Trio 64. This one took a hit. That's seen better days. You know, if this took the hit so that the voodoo lives, I'm happy with that. I'm perfectly happy with that. Let's see if it works. We got no jumpers are touching. Let's see if it functions. Nice. Once we finish with this one, I will go grab the Pentium 2, and we'll see if that voodoo works. Using the Riva 128 that we found last week in this box, that's in better shape than the Riva 128 that I bought to do a video on the Riva 128. David Starbucks says, I didn't know I needed an Archeologic Stingray until now. Now you know. Knowing is half the battle. Okay. Should be easy. Yep, it's another Trio 64 V+. Make sure that it can load drivers. I'm not even going to bother seeing if it works in Forsaken. Won't waste y'all's time with that. For whatever reason, it's really slow to boot. I don't know why. This machine is so overpowered for Windows 98, and yet it takes its sweet time. Let's get our settings back here. 800 by 600. High colors. And ta-da! It's that kind of like sort of yellowish hue that I think every single Trio 64 so far has done. I don't know why. But it works. Okay, let me unpack stuff here. I think I've got a power supply already attached to that machine, so I shouldn't need to do anything else. I'll go grab the Pentium 2. We can take a look at this voodoo and see if it's got the voodoo that you do. Alright. I'm gonna need an actual DOS mouse for this one. No USB mouse cheating for me. Alright, I will be right back. Probably mute this, huh? I swear I'm a professional. Okay, we are back. Sorry about that. This pile of mess here is the permanent DOS gaming PC. I just realized that I did all of my cool testing for that video, and I did not return its SD card to where I expected it to be. I don't know where its boot disk is. I left this over there with it, and for some reason, I removed it from there. I don't know where I put it. Very annoyed at myself right now. It basically just means we're going to have to probably grab some drivers quick before we do any of this. But I need a card to boot off of. One of these will probably work. Any of you labeled? 754, socket 7, not labeled. Let's do the socket 7. That'll be more likely to work. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Which one of you is primary? Can you just label it? Even if you just label one of these secondary, I know which one is primary. Aha! Secondary. Beautiful. Alright. Put that in there. Okay, we've got boot disk. We've got boot disk power. Alright, so primary display adapter. It's going to be Riva 128 from the Lucky Dip, because it actually works pretty well. Secondary display adapter. It's my Voodoo. Voodoo from the Lucky Dip. It's going to go in there. Sound card, same sound card I was using for the video. Sound Blaster 16 with the Serta E-Wave on it for a Wave Blaster. Not that it matters, but no. Okay, so I'm going to put the fans on top so that I can access the VGA ports, because come on, get on there. There we go. Fans will keep it cool. And so VGA out to the monitor plugs into the Voodoo. Then splitter cable goes between the two. So this plugs into the 2D card. And this plugs into the Voodoo. Okay. Honestly, like, it's seen as not being as advanced, right, as like a fully integrated card. It was honestly the perfect decision, because it meant you could take literally whatever PC you had, whatever graphics card adapter you had. If you had a free PCI slot, you could plug a Voodoo into it and immediately accelerate its graphics. It was a brilliant design idea. Absolutely brilliant. Let's get the audio plugged in. We should be good to go. power, right. We will need power. Power's here. I've got a power switch here. There's our power button. Doesn't like the RAM. It probably doesn't like just being turned on. It's been a little while. Welcome back to existence. How you doing in there? It's having a bad time. Alright, let's move the RAM from one slot to another. Wiggle the video cards. That's fine, that's fine. There we go. When in doubt, wiggle things. Let's switch over to the capture card. I'm guessing this has forgotten all of its settings. I don't think the CMOS battery in this thing is long for this world. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yep, thinks it's 1990. Nope. Watzak, hello, welcome to the stream. Watzak says, I heard sweater cable. And I know you said splitter cable, but I want to live in that world. I know, right? There was a time when computers were charming. Charlotte Thorne says, the gateway cow print always makes me smile, and I never even had one. There was a time when, oh right, this is gonna give me errors as long as I have this A drive set up. There's a time when computers were charming. I missed that time. Computers are so serious these days. Where is... Ah, floppy options. It's got its own spot in the menu. Disabled, disabled. Let's go. Eric's Edge is here. Hello, welcome to the stream. We're at the very end. The graphics card lucky dip was very lucky. I'm running the Riva 128 that the lucky dip had last week, and the 3D Effects Voodoo graphics that we discovered today. I can't believe someone put a freaking Voodoo in a box of scrap graphics cards. I can't even believe it. So let's... What do I have installed on this? Auto exec. Do I already have Voodoo? I have Voodoo stuff already installed on this. Excellent. Excellent. Do I have Screamer Rally on here? Let's see. Games. DOS. Excellent. I think that says S Rally. Let me see if I can get the VGA to HDMI to auto calibrate here. Can't read half of what it says. Not helpful. Not helpful. Oh, there it is. SR. Screamer Rally. Let's look at the EXEs in here. I don't remember what it's called. STRT3FX. That's right, because that makes sense. TRT3FX. Do you work? Do you work, little voodoo? It works! What? Are you kidding me? And yes, this is 3D effects in DOS. This is how these games started. You had like rendition cards that would run their games in DOS. MechWarrior was a good example. A lot of people got 3D cards to accelerate MechWarrior. But this was at least not a year before DirectX, but like 2 years before DirectX got like halfway competent. DirectX released the same month that the first, well, a month before the first Voodoo cards started shipping. So they shipped in October 96. DirectX shipped in September 96. Is that a hang? Or is that... I think that's a hang. Not super surprised. Give that a little bit more fan. See if that helps out. Dexor says, it stopped gliding. I need to see what my options are set to here in DOS. Come on, can I type? Edit auto exec. .net. So I've got this on a pretty healthy overclock. So let's put it back to its stock clock first and see if that helps. If I can type, there we go. And I'm going to turn the gamma down because the original gamma is wild. Let's see if we can make that 60 FPS. Reboot. We'll try Screamer Rally one more time. I don't think I have the Tomb Raider demo on this SD card. Because that's the other big like 3D effects DOS game. I mean, there's a ton of 3D effects DOS games, but like the big one is of course Tomb Raider. STRT3FX. Oh, we got a little bit of the 3DFX logo there. Just missed it. Yeah, see, the colors aren't nearly as washed out now. Looks like it's an actual 3D title. It's also a bit more pokey, because we are not overclocking it. But that's working, and I'm not seeing artifacts. Let's put it in Windows and see what it'll do. Again, I have no keyboard control. Why? I wonder if the last time I used this was with a controller, and that's what I have it configured to use. I can't even reboot it. Control-Alt-Delete doesn't even work. That's funny. Alright, let's see what it does in Windows. Come on, there you go. Unbelievable. Who puts a Voodoo in a box of scrap graphics cards? David Starbuck says it's GL QuickTime. Well, first it's Windows gets used to new hardware time. I'm gonna have to find. Oh, I hope I have the GART drivers on here. It's a 440BX. I hope Windows 98 has GART drivers built in, but I don't remember. I don't remember if they're any good. Of course, not super necessary since we're not using not using the Revo 128. Socket 7. What did I run this on last? I must have been that VIA board that we were overclocking. When we were overclocking Cyrix's. I bet that's what this last ran. Plug and pray time, indeed. It should be okay. I don't know if I have Revo drivers on this though. The Revo 128's been a relatively recent addition to the lab. Built-in drivers, okay. That'll work. I should have Voodoo graphics drivers on here. I have a little 3DFX folder full of like all of the drivers I've found for 3DFX cards over the years. I make sure I put it on every single SD card that I make. I don't know how much success we'll have with the built-in Microsoft drivers for the Voodoo. I kind of don't even want to try. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. I wonder if it's this. Just this motherboard. Or this power supply? It's all wobbly. That's what my other Revo 128 was doing to me. I wonder if it's just this board. Huh. Interesting. I've tested a few graphics cards on this SD card, apparently. It's seen some service. Alright, that means the likelihood is good that I've got drivers on here for the Voodoo. That is just a random 3D effects folder. I want this to be... Come on. Arrange by name, thank you. There's my install folder. Arrange by name. Drivers. 3D effects, yes. Bingo. Only Voodoo 3 drivers. Okay. Okay. That tells me how old this is. I haven't used this SD card in a long time. Because for a long time, I only had a Voodoo 3. There's another one that I picked up for fairly cheap. I was like, yay, I finally have a Voodoo card again. And then things happened. And now I have a lot more Voodoos than I want to admit. Okay, let's see. I just need to grab... God, I wish I knew where that other SD card was. That's so frustrating. Let go. Let go. Okay, don't kill the stream, please. Windows and USB. Write protect is enabled. Come on. This is I have the worst. I have the worst SD card reader plugged into this machine. It's comical how bad it is. And now it has stopped reading the card. Nice, good. Excellent. Try it again. Come on. Nope, not reading it. There we go. Reading it, and do we have write access? We do! Hooray! Okay, install. Drivers, 3D effects. Put it down very gently, just don't dismount the card, please. Alright. I have a folder full of backups of SD cards for these various machines. Let's see. AGP test bench, the one we were just using. I think I've got... I don't have Voodoo 1 drivers in there, that's weird. I swear I would have had Voodoo drivers in that thing. Okay, let's try... Checked. Thank you for closing the window on me. Windows? Wonderful. Let's see. Install drivers, 3D effects. That's exactly what we're looking at right now. Okay, so that's what this SD card is based on. That's my dual boot. Windows 2000, that's not going to have it on there. That also only has the Voodoo 3 drivers on it. That's weird. It's not a huge deal. I can just go get Voodoo drivers off of Vogons. I'm really frustrated that I don't have don't have that SD card that was in this machine. It's right there. It already had the drivers all set up for the Voodoo. Here we go. There's Monster 3D Voodoo, or Monster 3D drivers and generic Voodoo 1 drivers. Drop those in there. Everything is broken, Garage asks. Are Voodoos like tribbles? Honestly, I wish. I wish. No, it's just that I've had a number of very, very nice people in my life who have gifted Voodoos to the channel. I will not ever forget that. And I will still do that. I will still do that video, Nathan. I will do that. I've been meaning to do it for a while. At this point, I think the only things I'm missing are Voodoo Rush, which I'm in no rush to acquire. I also don't have any Voodoo 2s. And a Voodoo 4. I've got everything else. Yeah, I mean, Pixel Pipe says I don't have a rush either, and like it's a Voodoo but slower, which is not, you know, in the end, not really super interesting. All right, eject, eject. There we go. And let's reboot this thing. Get it going. Too much stuff. Okay. Corey Flammer says, I just got a mini-me of Voodoo 4 Remake. That sounds awesome. I might try and pick one of those up, the remanufactured Voodoo 4s. They look really interesting, and I don't have a Voodoo 4. So I think it'd be kind of fun. See what I mean? Like, this thing just boots. That Athlon takes forever. But this thing just boots. I wish I knew. It's gotta be this board. I wish I knew why. These Revo 128s are so wobbly. That did not help. Okay. It's gotta be some kind of interaction with this board. Because we tested this exact Revo 128 on the AGP test bench, and it was rock solid. No issues with the display. With pixels wobbling. And now it wobbles. It's gotta be this board. I don't know what exactly on this board is doing it, but it's definitely this board. Come on. Open it up. There we go. Okay, Monster 3D. We're going to install the stock drivers. Installation. Drivers. Let's get the tech demos. Heck yeah. If y'all have not seen the original Voodoo tech demos, oh, they're hilarious. In the oral history that I mentioned in my Voodoo video, the founders talk about like having to have software, right? Like you have to have software to run on the card, or no one buys the card. So they had to write a bunch of the demos that circulated at the time for this thing, and it's very cute. It's very cute. They're very definitely 3D software demos from 30 years ago. Very definitely. Wow, the image quality on this is just god-awful. Every time it has to touch the CPU, this thing just... the VGA out on this just wobbles. It's real bad. David Starbucks says, come to think of it, I don't have a Voodoo 5 6000 either. Yeah, no one does. I'm sure the 8 people in the world who own one are very happy with them. Wasn't even counting that one. I would one of these days, I hope. Just, before I jump from this mortal coil, I hope to at least see a Voodoo 5 6000 running in the flesh. I would love to see it one of these days. But from what I understand, they're very finicky. Okay. So we've got drivers. We've got the tech demos. Let's see if the tech demos work. Oh yeah. So like this is... yeah, so like this is one of the things that they talked about in the interview, in the oral history, is that, fighting games were really big at the time. This was when Virtua Fighter and Virtua Fighter 2 were out in the arcades, right? So like fighting games, 3D fighting games were like the thing. So nobody on the PC had a fighting game that was Voodoo compatible, or wanted to make one that was Voodoo compatible. So they wrote their own. They wrote their own fighting game, and it's bad, as you might expect. A team that's never written a fighting game before writing a fighting game. But it also is showing, it's showing off what the Voodoo can do, which was a heck of a lot more than any of its competitors. Right? Like we've got a shiny area on the ground here. It's not the whole ground either. Like we have specifically a spot where there's reflection. It's not real reflection, obviously. It's faked, but like to be able to mask reflection like that. Of course, there's bilinear texture filtering everywhere, which, as we saw with the Mystique today, not a given in 1996. We've got the chrome effect on our fighter guy here. I don't know what the controls are. I have no idea. Up apparently jumps. Space doesn't do anything. Oh, here we go. This is like 2 people on 1 keyboard can play this. I had a movement control for her in here somewhere. Where was it? I don't know. Apparently I can kick. Do a roundhouse kick. Here we go. There's movement for her, and that's also jump. Okay. Riveting! Riveting, absolutely riveting. Let's run Quake on this thing. Because that's all anyone was actually doing back then. It's running freaking Quake. I gotta go delete the GL Quake. So when you run GL Quake on a 3D card, it meshes all of the Quake data files into a little specific mesh format. I don't know if it's you know, like per card or per OpenGL CD or what, but I've had problems before where it has not worked unless I delete it every time I change cards. Oh, that's so dark. That is so dark. That's running though. GL Flash Blend 0. It's doing the thing. It is doing the thing. So we'll go map start. And we'll turn on mouse look. So here we go. We have Voodoo Accelerated Quake. And yes, this textures seem fine. I mean, the texture quality is not great on these old Voodoo cards, but they seem okay. I don't see any texture corruption. This appears to be fully functional. What even? Yeah, looks like it's working fine. Do we have any audio? I don't even know. Sounds like? No. Yeah, there we go. I'm like, I'm on Nightmare, I'm not gonna last long. I didn't. But yeah, that's working. We've got bilinear filtered textures. Let's see what else will run on this. These are the stock diamond drivers, so there's not a whole lot of stuff that's compatible with it. But like Quake 2 should work. .3D effects, excellent. So let's turn demo 1. Is demo 1? No. Demo 001. Nope. Help me out here, yo. What was the... What is the demo for Quake 2? I thought it was 001. You gotta add the file name. That's right, the file name extension. Because of course. It is demo 1.dm2. Hey, hey. .4 FPS. Yeah, that's about what I found with the other one. A little slower since we're not overclocking this one. But yeah, that's a functional Voodoo card. That is a functional Voodoo card. Oh, look at that gamma. Ugh. That gross voodoo gamma. Oh, that's not right. That's very not right. So it might not be completely okay. And that might be drivers, that might be the card. I'll try one more thing before we finish off this stream today. Absolutely unbelievable. Because Forsaken should work with Diamond's drivers, I think. It's an early enough game, and it doesn't do a whole lot in Direct 3D. Because I don't think Diamond's drivers have great Direct 3D support. But Forsaken should work. Forsaken should work. Fingers crossed. Okay, that's the chooser, that's what I want. Okay. Let's give this a try. That's true. Monster Truck Madness. That was the one I really super forgot in my video on the Voodoo. Because I forgot to do Monster Truck Madness, because that was one of the early 3D games. Like I think that ran on the Glint? As far back as the Glint, maybe? Yeah, it looks like this is not happy. I'll do one more run through DOS with Screamer and see if she crashes again. Drivers are probably the big weakness of an original Voodoo. Other than the fact that it was really fast for the time, but it got eclipsed really quickly. So it's not super fast. Like you can run some later stuff on it with later drivers. As I showed in my video, you can run Quake 3 on it even, but it doesn't run great. Like it's impressive that it can run it, but it's not a fun time. Unless you turn off a lot of settings. Even then, you're looking at like 20 to 30 FPS. But yeah, it looks like it's working. I don't know how long this will run before it crashes, or if it's going to crash this time. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm really glad I got that box of cards. I thought for sure, I'd get like 12 S3 Verges, right? I was hoping for like a 3D Rage. I ended up getting a Rage 2, which is exactly what I was looking for. And I was like, maybe some Matrox Millenniums. Pretty worthless cards in the grand scheme of things. But what a haul. What a haul. Was not expecting that at all. Not in the slightest. Seems to be working fine. Yeah, without the overclock, it looks like it works just fine. Although, well, there we go. I don't have a lot of keyboard input control, for whatever reason. I must have set this up to use a controller or something. Looks like it works, though. Alright, y'all. This was a heck of a stream. Holy cow. Holy cow. And with that, we come to the end of another stream. Wow, I think is the way to sum this one up. Wow. between the Riva 128 from last week, the Mystique, the Voodoo, unbelievable. What an unbelievable haul from this box. If you find a box of cards on eBay, and it's not too expensive, just get it. Who knows what's in there? Who knows what's in there? Alright, y'all. Have a wonderful night, and I hope the rest of your weekend is good. It's just as good as it's been, or just as much fun as you had tonight. I don't know what words are. I'm just kind of gobsmacked at finding a Voodoo in a $20 box of crap. Absolutely incredible. I hope everybody has a good weekend. Obviously, I'm having a great weekend. I did not expect this in the slightest. I'm gonna go get some dinner, and I'm gonna spend some time in VR, and if I need to ship you something, it's going out tomorrow morning. Promise. Oh, have a wonderful night, and I will talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by, and may the PC parts be ever in your favor. I'm gonna be done now, I'm sorry.